What's up, Addicts? I'm Michael.
And I'm Josh, and I don't know why we're talking so quietly.
I'm far away from the mic. I like it. So today we're talking about Danmachi speculation going forward into Volume 12 for the light novel.
The Season 2.
And the movie.
Yeah. It's a lot to talk about.
A lot to cover.
I guess we'll start with the one we have the most info on, which is probably the light novel.
Since it has been out in Japanese for like a year. So.
Yeah, which we don't read spoilers, but we do have the description of the book, which... Do you have that on you? But I know because we looked at it before we started recording, but just in case we want to reference it.
I'll go back and reference it.
But we do know that it's going to focus more on the dungeon. We're going to see more of Liu, which is the level 4 elf. And it's not much... and we get to see Bell have a new title.
Because
he's a level 4
hype.
Which he's now a second-tier adventurer.
Yes.
So that's hard to... Because he's really close now. So I'm really curious to see where that's going to go. But...
I'm just going to look at it.
Yeah, I'm waiting for Michael to pull it up because then he can read it so you guys kind of know what we're talking about.
Yeah, and this is the only information we have, like non-spoiler information about Volume 12, pretty much.
I mean, I'm pretty sure you could go and read the cliff notes of the whole
you
volume right
could.
now on Wiki.
But, I mean, that's not exciting. Oh, yeah, and I also talk about a new mission that he's going to receive from the guild. And something about faction alliance in the dungeon. So, he's going to... Basically, it's another volume where he explores more floors in the dungeon. You get new monsters. And I assume betrayal or something in there. So, we'll see.
Yeah, because I guess one of the things that's interesting to see is just what it's going to be like for the Xenos. Because in the last book, you know how it left off, everything seemed kind of hunky-dory, and I don't feel like it's going to be necessarily the case in this new volume. I kind of wonder if the quest given by the guild is to search out the dungeon for the Xenos, because... obviously, they know that they're somewhat resourceful, evading capture when they were on the surface, so they must suspect that they got some form of hiding place, and that's probably in the dungeon since they wanted to get back there so bad. And so I kind of wonder if that's going to connect with the Xenos at all, or if we're going to take more of a break. I guess one of the things that I wanted to ask you, Michael, do you think this is going to be like a one-off, like Volume 8, where we kind of get a break, or do you think this is going to be a start of a new arc?
I think this is going to be the start of a new arc. As far as you were talking about the role of the Xenos, I think they're going to play... I think we're probably going to take a break from them for like a couple volumes because they don't really have a permanent solution. Even with the end of Volume 11, which you can watch the video if you haven't already.
Yep.
You have, and read the book, basically, because we don't talk too many spoilers. But you have the Xenos back. In this one there will be spoilers for Volume 11. You have the Xenos back in the dungeon, back to where they were before they met Belle, but they haven't really improved at all. Their living conditions, and the world knows about them. I mean, you can say that the family that was hunting them and killing them is exiled. They're dead, and then the god was exiled.
I think, Bell said that he wanted to go back and visit Ween, but I don't know if they want to give it some time, because it seems too hot of a situation right now for him to risk, getting them found out.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting because you have 3 books dedicated to the Xenos, and then is it going to be a major theme going forward? I assume so, but I don't know if they're going to take a break.
This is where I think the story can shift fundamentally in a completely different direction. It kind of reminds me a little bit, sorry to reference something that maybe you don't read, but like in The Walking Dead, after they started getting more settlements together, it focused less on survival and more on, dealing with conflicts between other people. And I feel like it can be somewhat of a different thing to where it's not going day to day. It's focusing more on, bigger aspects, bigger problems, And it'll be interesting to see how they balance that. I also wonder if the Xenos even have a place in mind, because they did say that there was other encampments of Xenos in the further depths of the dungeon. Like the Lido's group and like Gross and all of them were just one group.
Yeah.
And so
I also want to see, so in the last book they talked about him training with eyes in the future. which that was like one of the downers in Volume 11. I was like, that doesn't make much sense. They almost fought to the death, and then they're going to train together. Exactly. What I want to see is I want to see him fighting, training with Lou, I guess, the level 4 elf. See where he is on her level, because we don't know if she's like top level 4 or like bottom level 4, because back when Bell was beginning level 3, he went up against Aisha when she was top level 3, and it was exciting that he actually was able to beat her. So I want to know the difference between, not only between levels 4 and 5, but like where she's at and where he is at. Maybe they can train together. I'd love to see those scenes like that.
And I think it'll be interesting to see a little bit of just. I would personally, sorry, I hate when I do that, when I go mid sentence and I transition. Apologize, but I just thought of, I kind of wondered if Loki Familia was going to be a part of this, and like if they were going to be in the dungeon, because it's taking place in the lower levels of the dungeon, and so
relative lower levels,
where I guess it's going to be focusing like on Bell's new max range, and with his other Familia, with his other Familia members not being, now they're considerably behind him in terms of level. If they're going to need. If Liu is going to be enough, or if they're going to need outside Familia help, which I kind of hope it's not Loki Familia, because I think we've got enough of them right now, and they're. I just don't think it makes. Yeah, it doesn't make much sense, because it's like, oh, you guys are such dicks. Screw you, I can do it on my own. But I don't know. I think one of the things, I guess, going into like speculation, even more so, or just wishful thinking, I'd really like to see more of his other family members level up a little bit more in this. Maybe. Now that, Bell's finally a second tier, maybe we can finally get, Wealth and Mikado into third tier. I think that would be not only a great help to them moving forward, but, just nice to see them.
Yeah, and they do have level boost. We don't really know how much they've used that in the dungeon for exploring. I don't know if they have really too much.
They have a little. The only time that we know of that they explored a little bit and had Herheim down in the dungeon was at the beginning of Volume 8. Because it starts with them in the dungeon, and then that's when it teeters off into the split stories. But it's still interesting to see, especially, I know you and me were talking, we really wonder how more OP her magic gets if she ever were to level up, or if it just lasts longer, if she can, cast it on 2 people, or, what would it do?
Yeah, and I'd be okay with, if some of Hestia's Familia's true allies, like you have the
Miyachi and the Teika. I'm just gonna call them Teika.
Teika Familia, and then you have Blacksmith Familia. They're kind of interesting. They're kind of like how other Familiars are, where they're neutral. I think I don't know. I feel like
because they're a big part of the city and
or whatever. I think they in the last book have kind of sided with the Xenos a little bit more. Mm-hmm. You have also Ganesha. Who he is kind of friends with Hestia, kind of in an unrelated way, because they both have the same mission.
It's kind of like one of those business relationship type things.
And they have, we did reveal in the last couple of volumes, they have a couple level 5s.
But they're more focused on numbers. Yeah. Which, it'll be curious to see, too, if, they play a role at all, because even though Ganesha family failed, I guess, in terms of trying to keep the Xenos under, trying to keep them from destroying things. I am kind of curious if they'll still enlist their help in doing a search party thing in the dungeon, if that happens.
And obviously we haven't even talked about it, but we don't know how Freya Familia is going to react in the future, because they just had some interactions with Loki Familia, which will lead them into conflict.
Now, what would be great is if, we have the same situation that we did in the first season of the show, where they get into a part of the dungeon that is too high of level for them, or to Bell it's fine, but it still strains him enough to where he could basically have some of his family members die because they're not powerful enough. And I think it would be kind of interesting to see Freya Familia come in and actually save them, not because they want to, but because their goddess that's her will. I don't know. I think that would be kind of interesting, because we don't really know so much about how they think of him. I think Alan's the only one we get kind of a peek into how he thinks, but it's not really saying much, because he
hates everyone?
Yeah, he hates everyone. He's
also, it's super, I don't know. It's because Bell's leveled up so much faster than anyone else in the history of all adventurers ever. 5 times faster than I's leveled up, pretty much.
Yeah.
And it's like he still doesn't get respect from people. It's like, why?
Because they're like, you're a cheater.
But he's he's level 4 now, so I wonder if he gets more respect from other people, or if he's still like hated by top level event. Well, not hated, but just I don't know.
Well, that's why I kind of want to see a little bit more action with Freya, because they're the strongest, at least in level, maybe not in family as a whole, but and plus, you got that thing where it's like there's a man tier. He's a man now.
Yeah.
It's I don't know. I think seeing an interaction between him and Otter could be interesting.
Yeah, we haven't really seen them talk.
Which I think would be interesting.
Otter doesn't really talk at all. Pretty much.
He doesn't. That's why I want to see, because he's the top dog, and he's got somebody that pretty much could surpass him pretty fast.
A couple years.
Yeah. So I'm just curious about that dynamic.
And I've really I know he's not going to level up in the next book. Probably not even the one after that. Maybe book 14, which hasn't actually been released in Japanese yet. Maybe volume 14 he levels up to 5. Because I think once he's in this region, you're going to have to take some time. But I really like, in all the books, I wanted to of how he leveled up. I think 1 to 2, the level from 1 to 2 was super cool with the Minotaur, and you had 2 to 3, and now 3 to 4.
Yeah, they definitely, every time he's leveled up, it's been entertaining. I mean, I think it's one of those where you're like, oh my gosh, how is he going to top this? And then, especially when he got to level 4, it's like, dang, he went up against his idol. I mean, he lost, but it was still enough to where
and he went up against a level 6 Minotaur.
Yeah. Which, that's also another thing. I'm really curious to see how they really play it.
I don't think they're gonna see. I think with that and the Xenos, I think they're gonna skip.
I don't think we'll see him for a while. But what I mean is his leveling, because in the series right now, he's leveled up quite a bit, really fast. But it hasn't been. He's not been on a timetable. He's just this is my goal in life, but I'm not trying to get there in 3 years or whatever. But in terms of the Xenos and with Astros going up against him and everything, he's kind of on a timetable now. He's oh crap, I don't know when he's gonna show up again. I got to get as far ahead as I can. It's kind of like when he got practicing for the war game, but that kind of dissipated once the war game was done. But I'm curious to see if that's going to be his main focus.
Yeah, that's why I think there's going to be a lot of training, and that's why I feel like the Eyes versus with him training. I don't know. I think it's always just going to be a disappointment because her magic is just so OP. It's
you know what they need to do. If he was realistically wanting to get leveled up, he should just be okay, Eyes, come at me like you came at me
at the beginning.
Yeah, at the beginning, and beat me within an inch of my life, and we'll keep doing that
every day,
and then eventually I'll level up, and then we'll keep doing it again. I'll level up again, and
he
could probably do that until he gets to her level.
But I mean, I think another reason why they need to take their time is he also needs to gain experience, because it talks about when he was fighting Dix in book 10. That it wasn't that he was a level 5, but it wasn't that he was just level 5. It was also that he had some 20 years of experience, fighting experience.
Yeah, which I don't know if I want to talk about a little bit about the books and the villains, but we're going to save that because we still haven't talked about the other the movie or the show. So I guess we'll transition to that. Do you want to talk about the movie first, since we actually have a trailer for that?
Yeah, so in the trailer we have Belle, we have new armor, kind of new, you get the same cast of characters. You actually don't see anyone from book 7. You don't see...
Yeah.
Or book... I guess you just see some people from book 6.
I think... Yeah, we get actually a character that isn't even in the books.
Yeah, we get an original character. Orion, maybe? We'll see.
If they want to make Orion a woman, but I don't really... I guess we don't know.
We don't know. A warrior character, she has a spear.
Yeah, that Belle gets to use, and he's in different armor.
He's in different armor, and we get to see more of Welf and Lily, but we do not see Hiroheim or any other of the cast of characters.
We do, I think... Well, no, because that was in... Because they do the whole thing where they recap what's going on first before they show the trailer, and that was in the recap. But I guess speculation for me... I kind of want to say that this is a non-canon movie. Or, and I mainly say that just because it doesn't seem to fit anywhere, and in the books, it'd be really easy to reference something, if you were making a project, to at least, put in that little reminder of, oh yeah, this one time, I remember when I was interacting with that person and put a little bit of setup in there for your... the stuff if you want to make it canon. So that's why I kind of think it's a one-off. But if, speculating if it was canon, I personally think even though this doesn't make any sense, and that's why I think it's non-canon, as I think it has to happen before the war game, because at least from this trailer, we don't see Mikado, we don't see Heraheim, so we got to assume that they're not part of his familia yet. And I don't even think, if that's to be taken, then Lily and Welf would just be helping him.
Yeah, they're helping.
They wouldn't be a part of his familia. But I also kind of wonder if that's the case just because we see some shots of some gods that may or may not be around or well-liked by those people at this time. So it kind of makes me think that stuff hasn't happened yet. But
we'll see. Yeah, I think either that or it's definitely before Volume 7. As far as the canon nature of it, it really goes back to the idea as is the side story canon. I feel like he is trying to make the side story canon, but there is several interactions that don't flow. As someone, because you watch the show, the
Sword Oratorio, whatever. They butchered.
Yeah, that show, and the book that's right after the end of the show. It has interaction where Belle fights like a plant monster that's, I guess, somehow going to be related to the Iklos Familia and like their operations in the dungeon. Yeah. But
it's like one of those where they could play it off as canon, but
I don't know if touch it. And I don't have to care that much because I don't really like those.
You just want to see Belle. It's fine.
Exactly. But so that's pretty much for the movie. All you can really say is there's going to be a new character, and we're trying to figure out when the timeline is. So.
Yeah, which I'm hoping though that it's maybe when he's a little bit higher because I think it'd be a little anticlimactic.
He's like level 2?
Yeah. But anyway.
Yeah, he has new armor. That's the thing that kind of is weird.
Yeah, and it's like it looks better. Like everything he has on him on the trailer looks better. I'm like, okay, if this was canon, like why did you give that up or what happened?
It's probably going to be like he got it gifted and then it got destroyed at the end or something.
Yeah, but
even if it's something like
still
that.
Still, though, I think it'd be so easy to reference that, because then you could be like, when Welf's, making his armor, and be like, oh, can you get it as good as that other armor? And he's like, don't talk about that better armor,
Yeah.
Or something, But I don't know. It's just one of those things where, the guy doesn't seem really, the author doesn't seem really too keen on
it's
referencing
an original
things,
story,
So, but yeah.
He doesn't have to.
Which is fine, because who doesn't like an original story?
Yeah.
I guess getting on to Season 2, this is the one we have the least amount of info on because we don't really have a trailer, and we
don't have a timetable for release.
We just have
19, maybe.
Yeah.
Some website it was like November this year, and I'm like, no, I don't think that's true.
I think earliest still come next year, 2019.
Because JC Staff, I guess technically Warner Brothers Japan, there's parent companies, and I'm not sure exactly how that works out because I don't care enough. But Mob Psycho 2 is in the same release date kind of range when they had a public pamphlet, and that is 2019.
And they still aren't they done by the same animation company?
I believe so. I believe JC Staff does it.
So that's kind of curious. I guess the one
they may be putting it on the back burner because Mob Psycho 2 is probably going to be pretty popular.
Yeah, because I not to downplay Danmachi, but I think Mob Psycho was more of a hit than the first season of Danmachi, at least in anime form. But I guess getting on to what do you want to see out of Season 2?
We could talk about all the things that happened in the books. I'm sure they're going to cover Book 6. I'm sure they're going to cover Book 7. They could skip Book 8 if they want to. There's a lot of good stories there. You probably at least have to include the little elements about Welf and his development, and then how he wants to marry his god or whatever. Well, not his god anymore, but
I'm kind of.
And then Book 9, Book 10, and Book 11. I don't know. Maybe because you either have to cover all the books, or you can't start that arc. Because I think if you start the arc on Book 9, you can't have a finale that's good.
I think Books 6 through 8 is the most accurate because, at the end of Book 8, we do get a little teaser of Ween being born in the dungeon. And I think if they ended the season like that, just a little teaser, not getting into any specifics about what's coming up or whatever, I think that'd probably be the best way.
And I think they'd have to do similar to what Overlord and My Hero Academia and I think Food Wars also did this. They have to do Season 2, let's say next, so spring.
Yeah, and
then
pretty much
summer, do Season 3, 9, 10, and 11.
which that would be a crazy one.
That would be crazy, and there's like no evidence to say that that's going to happen. Yeah. But I would be excited if it did, and I think that makes the most sense with the story.
Mm-hmm. I think overall season 2 will be a big step up from season 1. Season 1 is really good, but it's mainly more of just setting up the groundwork for the base characters that you're going to be spending the series with. And in season 2, between these arcs that happen and potentially what they can cover, I think you're gonna. This is where you'll really fall in love with the show. The first season is like, I like this series. The second season's kind of like, I love these characters. I want to see where it goes. And then after that, that's when you're just kind of like, oh my gosh, that happened.
Exactly.
Which. I'm just kind of looking forward. I think one of the things I'm looking forward to the most is them coming together for the war game in season 2, and then maybe a little bit of the interactions between the characters from like volume 8 or something like that.
Yeah, and probably going to spend a whole half episode on Eyes and Bell dancing in book. What is that? Book 6.
Oh gosh, let's hope not. Can that please be like?
Can that be non-canon?
Yeah. To make that scene more interesting, can we have the chase scene?
The chase scene
in that episode 2
in 7.
Yeah. Although I completely forgot for volume 7, it does have the pleasure quarters, which is going to be
I don't know what they're going to do with
interesting.
That. I guess they've kept that same tone throughout season 1 and all the material they've got. So
I think what's going to be crazy about that is if they do the war game and the pleasure quarters back to back. I mean, don't get me wrong, the stories are very different, but there's elements to the stories that kind of harken back to each other. And I'm kind of curious, that'd be kind of season inception if they reference their own season inside a season, because if I want to explain it a little bit better, because in the war game you get basically like a whole chapter of all of Apollo Familia chasing him through the city, and he's trying to fend off 100 adventurers.
It's so
and
good.
Then in the pleasure quarters, it harkens back to that when he's running through the pleasure quarters. He's got all the Amazon prostitutes. He's got all the regular prostitutes that are beating him with brooms and pans. So, it's just one of those.
A lot of chase scenes in this series.
Yeah, you're gonna see the White Rabbit run.
There's one in book 10. There's one in book 9, maybe. I think the best one is in book 10.
Yeah,
end of book 10. But
what's crazy? I just thought of is if they space it out like what we're saying, he'll level up once every season.
I mean, that's the current trend we have.
Yeah. So
we'll see.
See, it's right. No,
that's right. 1 + 1 + 1 = 4.
Illuminati.
Yeah, exactly.
I guess. Is there any other things that you got hopes for in season 2? Do you want what's the episode length you want? How much time you want?
Just 12. Don't
really?
make it 24.
You really
if it's just going to be 6, 7, and 8, don't make it 24 episodes.
I mean, I guess I could kind of understand that, but
or 13, 12 or 13.
I feel because if I had to. Well, I don't want to break down the whole season, but I feel if you spend at least an episode on him getting introduced to Apollo in the bar and then having the ball scene, and then maybe start the chase, that could be all one episode. Those 3 chapters could be all one, and then kind of maybe keep that vibe, because I kind of want to see a whole episode of them just getting together for the war game, and then a whole episode for the war game. Or maybe 2 episodes, have a 2-part
because he trains for the war game for quite a bit. So
yeah.
That's you have to probably have at least one episode of training and getting ready for it, or it won't feel.
Plus, it's one of my favorite moments of that volume is just seeing all of them come together. They go to Wealth and they're like, "Hey, you want to help out Belle?" And he's like, "Sorry, the goddess I am in love with. I got to go help my bro." And then he leaves. And then they're sitting there "We need our supporter." And then they're like, "Oh, she's stuck at freaking Soma Familia. Let's go down to their dungeon and break her out by force." So, there's just a lot of those cool moments that I hope they don't breeze over too much, I
agree. I also don't focus that much on Soma Familia. But you have to for the callback, though, later.
Yeah. And that's another thing, too. I think they can't rush it, because there's a lot more setup in this season, or at least there will be, than the first season. Not to say the first season didn't have some setup in it. But I think they got to take out there a little bit more time. So, for me personally, I kind of hope there's at least 22 episodes, but I'll be fine if there's 12, as long as they pace them out, I think, or pace them well enough, and trim the things that should be trimmed and not the things that are actually really entertaining to see, because there's a lot of these moments that I think will be really cool seeing animated. But yeah, anything on your end for season 2, or do you want to go into some of the other talk I wanted to discuss?
We can go into other talk, because that's pretty much it for season 2. I mean, for people who've read what is going to be covered, we can just kind of speculate what they're going to cover and what they're going to cut out, but that's pretty much it.
Yep. So at this part of the video, I just kind of wanted to talk about, we've been going over all the volumes, and in each video we've been trying to keep it spoiler-free, but we haven't really had a moment where we can talk really freely about it. And so there's a couple things I wanted to talk about, just particularly, our favorite volumes, and I think like our favorite villains. Me personally, we can start with villains. I think one of the most intriguing and well done antagonists that he went up against was Dix and the Hunters. I really love it, not only because it brings in this whole new atmosphere to the series with it being super dark, but also he's just an interesting. He's like the first villain we get that's like true evil. He's just like, I just need these people for money, and that's why I'm selling them. Nothing more, nothing less, because he's just nonchalantly doing these things. It's not like he has a passion behind it. We talked a little bit that in the video, but yeah, I agree with that. It's one of the best. And so, what would yours be? Would it be the same, or is you guys a different one? Because I know my favorite volume isn't your favorite volume.
Yeah, I think
you could say Eyes.
Yeah, she's the worst. I hate her so much. I think Finn is going to be of the villains that we've seen actualized in their arc, like actually ended. Then I would say Dix is my favorite villain. But out of the ones that I think have the most potential, I think Finn has a lot of potential for him to be a villain. Mm-hmm. I think Hermes as kind of a villain now, since they realized I don't know how you're going to repair that relationship. And who's gonna? I think it's gonna be interesting if their familiar fractures. Who's gonna be loyal to Hestia, and who's gonna be loyal to Hermes? Especially since Aisha's in that familia, and you have their level 4 basically
Well, let's be clear here. Aisha doesn't give a shit about Hermes' familia. The only reason why she's there is to make sure the frickin' stone that can kill Heraheim doesn't get in the wrong hands. So,
but Hermes is a kind of a. He gets his way, pretty much everything. Only one who can resist is basically Belle. So.
You know what I really want to see? I really want to see Freya just kick him off the Babel Tower. Hermes.
Just kill him?
Freaking Spartan
He's neutral, man. You can't kill the neutral guy.
You can, because there's plenty of other neutral people. I think Hermes, though, is going to be one that's going to factor into the later volumes in interesting ways. I think he's going to be one of those people where he's an ally, but he's not really a trusted ally, because he
very much back from that betrayal, though.
I mean, Belle's too nice of a guy. Let's be honest here. He's too nice of a guy. He'll accept his help if he really needs it.
It's because he tried to kill me a minute ago. Okay, we're good.
Because let's look at it. Even when he's gone up, let's look at Ishtar, right? He didn't really have any aggressiveness towards her. And that could be because, he was just, startled by the fact she's, unclothing, undressing herself in front of him. But I don't really see, because you get a peek of what he thinks of gods in Volume 8, and that they're, these people that are supposed to be taking their word, you don't disobey them, and they're held up on this high pedestal that I don't really know if he could go up against one so directly. You know what I mean? He might disagree with them, but I don't think he could just flat out be like, no, screw you.
I don't know, but yeah, for villains, that's probably what I would go with.
But oh my gosh, I guess I'll link it here just because we'll probably wrap up this video pretty shortly. We have a video that is probably going to be out before this, but just in case it isn't. We do have a video that we recorded that's going over who we think who will win over Belle, I guess you could say. and going over, analyzing all the other characters that are available to him, and just kind of picking and choosing which ones we think are, possible, likely, and then, personally, which ones we want to see. And so if you want to check out the video, I'll put it in the description if it comes out before. If not, then stay tuned for it, because it should be up pretty soon after this one. But, gosh, there's just so much to this series. I don't even know if we could cover it all in one video. I guess, do you have any last things, or do you want to finish it up?
We can pretty much wrap this up. I'm excited for Season 2. I hope it's out in 2019 and not 2020. You never know. You can reference, Overlord. That took a long time to get Season 2 out. And then you have the movie, which I'm mildly hyped for. I don't know. If it's non-canon, I'm not going to be super excited. And then Book 12, really excited for that. Want to see the new arc, want to see them in the dungeon, and I want to give Danmachi a 10 for one of the books. So maybe it'll be Volume 10.
Would you think that'd be the first movie that would give a 10?
I don't know.
Maybe. If we can see it in theaters, I'll get even more pumped for it. But I guess that's all we got to talk about. Like Michael, I'm looking forward to all of the Danmachi that I got coming up. Some of it's coming closer or sooner than others.
October 30th.
Yeah, so
we'll have a review out October 31st for Volume 12.
Might have to get an audio version or something. They can actually read it that fast. But anyway, guys, that will conclude this video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. If you want to check out some of our other stuff, feel free. We got more stuff related to Danmachi. We have a review for the first season, and then Volume 6 all the way to current, and then we got our other discussion one, like I said. So if you're interested in Danmachi, do check out our channel, as we got more of that. If you want to follow us on social media or listen to our podcasts on SoundCloud, links of those will be in the description. So anyway, Addicts, we'll see you later.
Peace.